Okay, so for today we're going to create groups within our course so that we can apply that to different quizzes or tests that you might be creating to ensure that students that have accommodations, so double time or time and a half, have access to only that quiz that has that proper timing, and all the other students in your course that can take the standard timing of the quiz have access to only that. So the key here is that every single student in your course can only see one quiz, and so it's not confusing, and everyone has the proper access to the one that they are required to take. So where we're going to start is we're going to start with the administration column over here. We're going to click on users, and then we're going to click on groups. And in groups, I have created a couple already. And so what I see are the title of the group, and then I have afterwards a parentheses with a number, and that tells me how many people are in that particular group. If I click on one, group A has one person, says Pat Pellman is in here. Group B has Melissa Whaler. And what I recommend is just creating something with the standard naming convention. So group A can be standard time, group B can be time and a half, group C can be double time. So that's what we'll do right now. We'll create a group C. So I'm going to hit create group, and I'm going to call it group C. Just give it a title, nothing else, hit save changes, and now it says I don't have anyone in that group, so I need to enroll someone. I'm going to add my friend Anna into this course, and then I'm going to click back to groups. So like I said, I have groups A, B, and C, one person each one. And then when I'm all finished there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my course. So the key is that you have already created the groups, then you would go through your process of creating the quiz itself, filling out every single element on it, the timing, and all of that. And then what you will do when you're completely finished with the quiz and you're pretty much ready to almost give it, then you will go find it on your Moodle site. So let me just scroll down to mine. I'm going to go to this quiz, and oops, sorry, let me go back a second. Actually important, we're going to click turn editing on first, and then we're going to go back down. Sorry about that. And I'm going to go to my quiz here, and on the edit option, what I get when I click on edit is I get duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate that particular quiz. And in this case, if I had 3 different groups, both standard timing, time and a half, and double time, I would actually duplicate it twice. So I'm going to click duplicate, and then I'm actually going to do it again. So we'll try to replicate exactly how we would do this. Then once I have that, what I can do is I can come into that particular group, that course quiz. So I'm going to go into the first one, and so what you don't want to do is you don't want to retitle this, time and a half, double time, because you just want to ensure that if you've set everything up correctly, no one knows which one is which. Maybe you could do quiz A, B, and C. Again, like I could do that. I could come in here and say modal verbs quiz A, just for reference to ensure that you're selecting the right group. But again, just not giving outward information, just to keep everything consistent. So maybe I'll do A, just for my own reference more than anything. But this is all up to you if you want to do that naming. The key here is once I'm on my edit settings in my course, in my quiz, I can go down to the bottom, and there's an option that says restrict access. I can click the triangle so it opens, and then I'm going to say that I'm going to add a restriction. I'm going to click group, and because I've already created my groups, I have a number of different options here. So the key here is that on the first group, group A, this is going to be the standard timing. So in this case, I would have enrolled all the students, the majority of my students in group A, and only allow them to have access to the standard timing. I could then go save and return to course, and then I can scroll back down here. So at this point, you can even see here, modal verbs quiz A, restricted, not available unless you belong in group A. So I would do the exact same thing on the next one. I can go to edit settings on that, scroll down, restrict access, add a restriction. In this case, I'm going to do group B. Again, if I wanted to give that naming convention in it. But as you can see, you don't necessarily have to put this in here, because if you have set everything up, when you go back to your course, it's going to give you that information although other folks won't see it in the course, you can see modal verbs quiz A belongs to, A, this one belongs to B. So you don't necessarily have to have it in the title, but you can make the adjustment if you want to. But you can easily see here that this one is restricted to group A, this one is restricted to group B. And then finally, on this one, I could edit settings, and I could see, restrict access, add restriction, group, and I'm going to say group C on this one, save and return to course. So there we have it. A, B, and C, all restricted. The key here now that we did not do, so we did add the groups, but this is also extremely important, is to come in here and we're going to edit the settings, and I should have done this earlier, but I was focused more on setting up the groups, is the timing. So at this point on this one, actually we didn't have the time limit, but ensure that the settings are set the way that you want it. So usually we want, when time expires, either attempts are submitted automatically or there's a grace period, which you can adjust the grace period. If you have a 5-minute grace period for the standard, then you would have to have 7.5 minutes for the double time and a half, and then 10 minutes for the double time. So do think about that as well. And then you can enable the time limit. And so if the original was 30, then you would obviously make the adjustments accordingly for whatever time limit you have on the original, and then on the time and a half and the double time. So then you would just hit save and return to course and go through the second one, so ensuring that you have your timings all set up for each individual one that apply to standard time, time and a half, or double time. And one last thing that you can make adjustments on any of the different course quizzes, and again, you may have wanted to adjust this from the very beginning so that all 3 of the duplicate quizzes have the same settings. But under review options, there are options here about immediately after the attempt, later while the quiz is open, and then after the quiz is closed. So you can make these adjustments to have it so only the points show and overall feedback instead of showing which one was the right answer. So that may depend on how you have the quiz set up. If you have everything available at the same time, everyone's taking the test at the same time, which is going to be very hard when you're not, everyone is not in the same time zone. So the standard recommendation is to have everyone, to have a large amount of time for the test to be taken, but as in a day, but the timing once they start that quiz, that's what the timing reflects. So if it's a 50-minute quiz, once they hit, yes, I want to start this test, it will only give them 50 minutes. And so that would allow it so that they don't get full feedback, and if the concern is that someone else might, send the correct answers to someone else. So you could open that up later on and give them full feedback after the window is completely closed and everyone has taken it.